Anunoby is staying in New York. Sources tell our Adrian Wojnarowski that the free agent forward intends to sign a 5-year, $212 million contract to return to the Knicks. The deal includes a player option and a trade kicker. This, of course, is good news, obviously, for New York, especially after acquiring Mikal Bridges. So don't look now, Gotham, but following the acquisition of Bridges and the signing of Anunoby, the New York Knicks are now tied with Denver and OKC for the second shortest odds to win next season's NBA title on ESPN Bet. The Celtics remain heavy favorites to repeat. All right, Stephen, I'm going to start with you on this one since it's your Knicks. How much of a threat do you think that the Knicks are now?
Well, listen, first of all, they're a threat. Let's get that out the way right now. Bad news for you, CJ. I'm so sorry. They're more of a threat for the championship than the New Orleans. But that's right, I'm saying it, CJ. And I love you. But I'm going to say that on national television. Yeah, it's more of a threat. Tell y'all something right now, okay? The Boston Celtics are the creme de la creme. They're the standard. They're the reigning, defending NBA champions. We get it. We understand it. We see it for what it is. But outside of the Boston Celtics, I mean, who can we look at definitively and say the New York Knicks can't take? I don't know about Milwaukee, Giannis and Dame Dollar. You going to get it together as a pair? You going to do that? You going to do that? Do you have the depth necessary in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where they got, where they got cheese going on down the road and all this other stuff? Do you have what it takes? What about you in terms of the Philadelphia 76ers? Embiid, I appreciate you, baby. I know how big time you are, but damn it, you ain't never healthy come playoff time. That's going to be an issue as well. You look at the New York Knicks, you keep Anunoby, you've acquired Mikal Bridges, you still got Brunson and DiVincenzo and Hart. Excuse me, I'm looking at some of the things that you had moving away from these picks and whatever because you're trying to accumulate. You got to accumulate or actually save some dollars. So maybe, just maybe, you can keep Hartenstein. All I'm saying, CJ, all I'm saying is this. It's orange and blue skies, baby. It's orange and blue skies. All right? The best is yet to come. We ain't there yet, but we climbing. We climbing, we coming. And I know people like you hear the footsteps. You better recognize orange and blue skies.
I think you said a lot of great things about the Knicks, how they're all in. They signed my boy Mikal. Shout out to Mikal. Great player, is going to be in a great role. Love Jalen Brunson. He's showing that it just might be his team. Julius Randle's coming back. OG may sign Hartenstein, may not. May sign Mitchell Robinson, may not. All that is fine and dandy, and I like the way your team looks. Don't worry about the West because you still got to get out the East. And in the East, we know the Boston Celtics are the best team in the East. They will be the best team in the East next year, which is why they are grossly favored to win it all. They have a younger core than your lovely Knicks, right? You look at Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They are younger than the core of the New York Knicks, and I love those Knicks. But I think you have to be realistic, Stephen A. You have a really good team. You have a really good roster. But the truth of the matter is, the Boston Celtics aren't going anywhere. Drew Holiday has signed a long-term deal. Kristaps Porzingis, even if he doesn't play to start the season, they're still going to be heavy favorites. Derek White will be back for at least another year. Al Horford is aging gracefully like the fine wine that I make out in Oregon. I think this is a great opportunity for the Knicks to take strides, but I still think the Boston Celtics are the best team in the East.
CJ, listen. What does youth have to do with next season? It's not like Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby. They're in the middle of their prime. They're just scratching the surface of their prime. When I think about the New York Knicks, if they had Julius Randle and he was available, and they played the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Final, which I think they would have pushed Boston to 7 games. When I look at this team, they're not far off. Jalen Brunson was the best player in the Eastern Conference this past season. He was the top 5 MVP candidate. I voted him number 3 on my ballot, to be honest with you, the way he was tearing up the league. He was addressing everyone like the numbers on the house. He has the capability, when healthy, to be the best player in any series against anybody. It's proven. When I think about the culture, I think about the marriage, right? Tom Thibodeau, having the players around him that fits his identity. They're not going to take any nights off defensively. And when it comes down to being a legit title contender, they're a top 5 team in the NBA right now. We're not just talking about the Eastern Conference. We're talking about the entire league. And they're a real threat right now for as a team that could deliver a championship.
Well, I completely agree with you. Ain't nobody refuting that. They are a top 5 team in the NBA. And CJ, don't you get some look on your face acting like that is a false statement, because you know that it is not. When you look at the New York Knicks right now and the way they defend, the rough riders that they are, you know something? Not you, because you know what? You're a veteran, you're class personified, you handle your business or whatever. But you know, if some of your teammates were rough riders, CJ, I mean, you know, I'm just saying, you know, if some of your teammates were rough riders, I mean, who knows what New Orleans would be. If they had that intestinal fortitude, if they had that grit, if they were as committed on the defensive side of the ball the way that they should be and what have you, who knows what New Orleans could do. We were very, very pleased with what we saw from Zion, especially that last game against the Lakers before he got hurt. Very, very pleased. That's the brother we were looking for. I got that. But I'm just speaking collectively, CJ. I mean, when you look at the Western Conference, I mean, there's several teams. And there's several players on your team. I mean, you know, if you could take some of the Knicks and just put sprinkle a couple of those brothers in New Orleans, you would have a better idea of what I'm talking about. Top 5. Perk is right. Top 5.
I want to ask you first. I feel like it's New Orleans, not New Orleans.
No. New Orleans. Who gives a damn?
That's how.
Okay?
That's how you're supposed to say it.
New Orleans. What about
yeah,
that?
that's what it is. That's what it is.
Who cares?
I also want to ask
you how you speak about us down in the South.
No. I got love for the city. I got the best restaurants in America. I mean, the food you want to eat. You know, you want to eat. I mean, come on, New Orleans is the place to go.
Yeah, get some
I'm just
beignets,
talking about that damn basketball team.
Okay, but I do want to ask you, you got your Nova Knicks, you have OG. Do you actually think that a championship is in sight for your Knicks?
No, because the Boston Celtics are standing in the way. I'm simply saying the Boston Celtics are the only ones standing in the way. I don't look at anybody else in the NBA and say the Knicks cannot beat them. I think the Knicks can beat anybody but Boston. That's where I'm at with it. I'm not saying they'd be more favored. I'm not saying they'd have a better chance against Boston than a couple of other teams, but they'd have a shot to take out anybody. I'd give them no chance to beat Boston.
Perk, you agree?
So here's
that's the problem, right?
Go
there,
ahead,
Stephen
CJ.
A. That's
Go
the
ahead.
problem.
What's the problem?
You're talking about the West. You're talking about my teammates. You're talking about my city, and you're not even focused on the city that you can get to from a small bus ride. Like, the Boston Celtics are better than most teams in the NBA. You could say that they're the best team in the NBA right now because they just won a championship. And you worried about the Pelicans, you worried about Minnesota, you worried about Denver, all those teams in the Western Conference, OKC, but you need to be focused on the Boston Celtics. I love what the Knicks have done. I think that they are positioned well to be successful, not only now, but in the future. I love the fact that you got Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges for less than $50 million combined. I love the fact that you have a chance here to bring back OG. You have a chance here to play with Julius Randle. You can get one of your bigs. I love all the things that they're doing. The problem is, it's similar to how Dame and I ran into the Warriors over and over and over again. The Boston Celtics are in the way for now and the foreseeable future. So it doesn't really matter who they get. They're still going to have to go through Boston, and Boston's still going to probably win 60 games next year.
We understand that, CJ. We understand that, right? But here's the thing, too. It's two things. Kristaps Porzingis, right? Like, is he going to be able to stay injury-free? Because the reports are Brad Stevens say that he's not going to be available start of the season, right? How he's going to look when he returns, because he was a crucial piece for us them completing the mission and winning the championship. And then another thing, the same thing that I saw that happen with the Denver Nuggets and that I was worried about, right? It's a difference when you're chasing that first championship, you're starving, right? You're starving. You'll do anything in your power to get that first championship. Are the Boston Celtics going to get complacent? And when I say complacent, I'm not saying that the hunger is not going to be there, but are they going to be starving for a second to repeat? Because it's harder to get back and win another championship. I have them as my favorites. Make no mistake about it. coming into next season, I got the Boston Celtics. I trust Jaylen Brown. I trust Jason Tatum. We know what Drew Holiday brings to the table, but the New York Knicks are here. They are gearing up for the Boston Celtics. It's been, Woj reported it when they made the trade for Mikal Bridges, that they're looking to match up with the Celtics, and rightfully so, because they are the standard. They have set the bar.